Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today for your guide to Sicily with Avanti Destinations. My name is Michael Field. I am a content manager here at Avanti Destinations. Before we get into introducing my partner here, who's going to talk all about Sicily, just want to let you know, if you do have any questions, please put them into the chat. I will keep an eye on that throughout the presentation. And at the very end of the presentation is when we'll answer any of those questions that were not answered during the presentation. So first and foremost, I have with me Tammy Cortez. She's been with Avanti for a significant amount of time. I won't say however many years. She's been here for a long time. Super qualified and knowledgeable about Italy, knows more about Italy than anybody I know. And I've leaned on her quite a bit for any of my own personal trips, or if I have friends and family come to me asking about Italy, I reference her all of the time. So today we are going to talk a little bit about who is Avanti, how long we've been in the industry, what we can do for you as our partners, getting into those travel logistics of getting around Sicily, how to get into Italy and then through Sicily, the best way to get from place to place, all those wonderful destinations. There's so many charming little towns throughout. From personal experience, I absolutely love the welcoming, warm people and the food and the mountains and the gorgeous scenery throughout Sicily. Also, going into those destinations, Tammy will talk about each of the individual spots that we have on offer for you. There is just an endless amount of possibilities when it comes to visiting destinations throughout Sicily. And lastly, after Tammy finishes up with kind of the product and destination trainings, I will get into some of the agent tools, talking about wonderful resources that we have available to you, how we can help you out with great assets and content that we've created through our teams, our product team, our operations team, and of course, our marketing team and sales team as well. So who are we at Avanti? We've been in the industry for quite a long time, and obviously, based off of the name Avanti, focusing in on Italy for a very long time from the start. So in 1981 is when we began, and since then, we've expanded significantly in terms of the amount of employees and the amount of destinations that we sell. Most of us are based out of Portland, Oregon here. Both Tammy and I are based out of our headquarters in Portland, Oregon, but we also do have a few other offices in Washington State. We have a great groups department that's actually expanded a little bit now with the new sales group team member as we're increasing some of our resources and staffing. They will help you with any kind of customized group travel of 15 or more travelers. Additionally, for the last few years, we've expanded into Barcelona, where we have an office that focuses in on operations and customer relations, helping within the time zone where we send a lot of our guests throughout Europe, so we can be there for you and for our DMC partners to help resolve any issues that might occur during travel. And lastly, and most recently, we've launched a new office in Manchester. The reason behind why we really pushed to open this office, because we're based here out on the West Coast, and we, of course, have agents throughout the United States, and we want to have as much coverage as possible. So that Manchester office is focused in on our reservations team. That's reservation support, that's travel consultants for you that you can connect with. So we have now increased our hours significantly and our availability for you. If you need to call us early in the morning on the East Coast, or we will be there for you to give you any answers and help you build a booking and convert a sale. So in terms of the regions that we sell, yes, we did start in Europe all those years ago, and then in 1990 we expanded into Central and South America, which is a place close to my heart. And since then, based off of kind of feedback and demand that's existed, we've been trying to add more and more destinations. That includes North Africa and the Middle East, and then in Asia as well. Can't skip on Asia. Back in 2016, we had a great launch of Asia, and that's a big part of our business as well. We really highlight, there's a lot of great destinations throughout Asia. And most recently, in September, we had this massive launch and a whole bunch of trainings with tourist boards and our DMC partners that came into our offices in Portland. We did a roadshow. We launched the South Pacific. So that is Australia, New Zealand, and Fiji, based on a lot of interest that we've had over the years. It's an area that is pretty logistically complex to sell, and we do that really well. So that's kind of our highlight and part of the reason why we dipped our toes into the South Pacific. We're very excited to offer those destinations for you now. At Avanti Destinations, we consider ourselves to be the one-stop travel source here for your convenience. We certainly know how to simplify those complex itineraries. We can do a lot of different things for you, but of course, as it gets logistically more complex with the inclusion of rail, the inclusion of air, multiple destinations and itinerary, multiple countries within an itinerary, we have the expertise to help you make the most efficient, most valuable, and unforgettable trip for your clients. We offer air and transfers, so that in terms of our air contracts, we have both domestic and international air contracts, and of course, we can also do published airfare whenever that is necessary. We include transfers here because it's such an important fact, and we have this conversation over and over with our DMC partners about making sure that their fleet of vehicles is up to standards so that your travelers don't have any issues while they are traveling abroad. Our accommodations, a variety of different urban, rural, mountainous, in many cases in the jungle. We have so much to offer. When it does come to those city locations, it is a priority for all of our product management to contract and to push hotels that are located right next to those tourist attractions. The idea for us is, oftentimes when you're in urban areas, our travelers are just wanting to step right out of the hotel and be able to take whatever public transportation or walk around to see all the tourist attractions nearby, close to wonderful and charming restaurants and cafes. Additionally, of course, we also have convenient airport hotels for those early morning flights, and sometimes necessary. In the case of Greece, let's say, if you're going out to the islands, you might have to do an overnight in Athens on the way back, or you will have to. That's a kind of a requirement. And we've got some great destination highlight properties as well. Some of these locations that are a bit more isolated, where that hotel has a lot to offer in terms of what you're doing as a base camp and then exploring from that place. We have a variety of different levels of tours and sightseeing options for you, meaning we have private, small groups, semi-private, shared, a variety of those different opportunities for your travelers based on what their preferences and demographics are. Certainly, we really love to push a lot of our small group and semi-private options. It's a great way, which is a little bit more budget friendly, but it is a more personal, intimate experience where you can get to know your guide more. And anybody that does have any kind of issues in terms of being able to get around quickly, we highly recommend those private tours for them, just to make sure that they can go at their own pace and don't have to worry about trying to keep up. The last thing that your travelers are going to want is to feel uncomfortable during the tour. So make sure you're reading what style of traveler they are. Obviously, the budget impacts that, but sometimes you have to spend a little bit more money on those private tours to get that increased quality experience. And when it comes to the kind of thematic tours and sightseeing that we have, we'll talk a lot today about food and wine. We also offer plenty of religious and architectural and historical tours, all different kinds of entertainment that's available in restaurants and shows throughout the regions we sell. We push for those kind of unique experiences as much as we possibly can. We do have rail on 4 different continents. That's primarily Europe and what we can offer for you, because we do so much with seat reservations and passes and ticketing throughout Europe with commissionable rail. It's a wonderful kind of resource that we can provide for you. It's a big reason of why our partners, so we have such great relationships with us, and why we want you to come to us, because we facilitate the complexity of the headaches that can be rail on occasion. We also, besides those kind of seat reservations in European style destination to destination trains, we also have wonderful scenic, regional, and high-speed trains throughout a lot of our different continents and destinations we have on offer. The expedition style cruises, those are about 50 cabins or fewer, what they're considered. It's a great way to explore unique and isolated destinations. Of course, the go-to is like the Galapagos or the Amazon or the Nile. We have a bunch of these different small ship cruises that are really unique and special experiences. And honestly, when it comes to the feedback that we get, some of the most like memorable customer feedback we receive tends to be for the small ship cruises, and we have great options for you in a multitude of destinations. Don't forget, we offer pre and post cruise stays as well. So for all those cruisers out there, we do have a 3-night minimum, but you know how challenging it can be with the cruise lines and the cost when it comes to any kind of port tours or trying to set everything up through them. We have excellent pricing through our FRT rates that we have. As long as you're meeting those minimum qualifications, it's a great opportunity for you to kind of get to know us a little better, to use our services for that, and then we can expand on utilizing some other trips later on. Travel protection, we are partnered with TripMate. It's a wonderful partner for us. We've been with them for a long time. We do have a lead-in option as well as an upgraded plan, and that upgraded plans includes cancel for any reason as long as you're making payment within 7 days of the deposit. It's a great option now. Obviously, everybody knows they need travel insurance. We all learned that lesson over the last few years, and we have a wonderful plan that and wonderful coverage for you as well. Now, it's one thing to keep in mind that our pricing is a little bit different than some others. It's based off of a package price, and it's not based off of the client's age. So that can be quite useful for any of your more elderly travelers that you have. Who is the Avanti traveler? Well, variety of different demographics, to be honest. But when it comes to what their interests are, it tends to be people who are a little bit more independent. They're looking for something customizable. They might want to modify to add an additional night, remove an additional night on some package that they might see somewhere. We can accommodate all the logistical complexity to make your traveler experience the best they can possibly have. Now, in general, when it comes to those demographics, we do a lot of multi-generational family stuff. We have seen an increase recently in the number of passengers that we have per booking. It used to be right around 2.1, 2.2, somewhere around there. And we've seen that bump up a bit where it's not just those couples traveling. Of course, we do honeymoon stuff and we have plenty of options for couples, but it's bumping up closer to 3 because we are seeing some smaller groups, and we can accommodate them very well. We have great contracts with lots of allocation. So if there's multiple rooms, it's something we can absolutely help with. All different kinds of age groups, and in general, it tends to be travelers with a little bit more experience, as I mentioned before, wanting to be more independent and customizable. So I do want to go ahead now, pass it over to Tammy Cortez, who's going to talk all about Sicily and a wonderful destination that it is. Go ahead, Tammy.
All right, thank you, Michael, and welcome everybody. I'm excited to be here. I love Sicily. Been very excited to see our numbers and sales in Sicily grow substantially over the past year in particular. So very exciting that people are finally making their way south to this beautiful island that has so much to offer, whether or not it's solely due to the White Lotus show or who knows, word of mouth, but it's a beautiful, beautiful island in southern Europe, just off the toe of mainland Italy. So we have a lot of product all throughout the island, lots of different types of hotel stays, different experiences, transfers, transfer tour combos, all kinds of product. In this webinar, I'm just gonna touch on some of those things, but of course, if you go to the website and look at the destination guide for Italy, there is a lot more information in there when you're done if you want to see even more. So with that, I will just kind of jump in and start by talking about the location. As I mentioned, is you can see Italy there, the shape of the boot, the mainland. It's the island that is right off of the toe of that boot. So the location gives it obviously lots of seaside destinations all over the island, which are super picturesque, very relaxing, very beautiful, easy to combine with Italy. So people are going to the mainland, you know, most of the time people will just grab a flight. And yeah, has 2 different airports that have quite a few flights in and out. So most of the time people will fly into one and out of the other. That way they're not doing backtracking. So flying into one and kind of doing a circle around the island is what most people will do, especially on their first trip, trying to see the biggest, most famous locations. So both Palermo and Catania do have quite a few flights that are accessible and easy to connect. We don't really deal with the ferries from various places to get to the island. We just do flights. As far as getting around the island, it is easy to rent a car. We do have rental cars there for people who are comfortable in driving themselves in other locations. The island really is easy to get around. The distances are fairly short. Even this island has so much to offer. The distances to everywhere are, most of the places are 1 to 2 hours, depending where you want to go, how long you're going to stay, and what you want to see. But if people are not comfortable renting a car and kind of going as they please with that freedom, we do have, like I mentioned, we have private transfers that connect all the dots. We have tons of private experiences inside the cities and to visit the surrounding locations. We also, the past year, have added quite a few transfer tour combinations. So maybe people want to go from Palermo to Taormina, but instead of just doing a transfer straight through, have a stop in Cefalù, spend a couple hours going around the town, with or without a guide, having lunch included. So we've got lots and lots of different varieties of transfer tour combinations to really enjoy the journey along the way. And let's jump into just kind of the most popular places first. Starting off, well, I'll just talk about why are there so many reasons to go to Sicily. Historic cities are everywhere. There's tons and tons of history layers on the island due to the different civilizations that have come over the years. In addition to the big cities, there are lots and lots of small towns, which are super charming. Many of them are on the seaside, like I mentioned, so they have a really relaxing, beautiful atmosphere. Lots of coastal towns. This is Cefalù, one of my very favorites on the northern coast, not far from Palermo. Historic sites are everywhere. There's lots of Greek temples and Greek ruins all over. They're not even that ruined. They're very, very well preserved everywhere. But this specific slide right here is the town of Erice, which is gorgeous. It's not always on everybody's list to see. It's just west on the coast, heading out of Palermo, but super charming town. This castle right here was something I did not expect at all when I was there. It's up on a hilltop. You take this long winding road to get up there, and it's just kind of magical and different from anywhere else that I have been. So very, very cute town. Also, just you feel like you've gone back in time. The town is how it was many, many years ago. Super hospitable people, lots of little cafes to sit outside and eat in the sunshine. Just very, very charming. So there's so many little hidden gems all over the island that I definitely would suggest adding in addition to those big cities that people have heard of already. I mentioned Greek temples. You'll see some more slides as we kind of move through the presentation. There are a lot of Greek temples, very, very well preserved. I think they're the most concentration of Greek temples, and the best well-preserved ones outside of Greece are in Sicily. So lots of beautiful things to see there. Mount Etna, beautiful scenery you can see from Taormina. You can do day tours there to kind of go up the mountain a bit. Does have some unique and great wine tasting in that area due to the soil there. So it adds a lot in terms of beauty and also the wine in that area. And the cuisine, there's over 20 regions in Italy. They all have their own local cuisine and local specialties, but I love Sicilian food. I love spice, so a little spice here and there is always appreciated by me. But here's just a couple of traditional things that clients will get to enjoy while they're in Sicily. We've got the arancini, the rice balls, the cannoli in the middle with the typical pistachio inside, and then of course, pasta alla norma with some eggplant and beautiful local tomatoes. So delicious. So I get so excited. I try to add food and or wine in lots of our experiences so that people can see the history and then also enjoy a very, very nice meal that they don't have to think about going to find. Okay, so jumping in, we'll just start off by talking about Palermo, which is the capital city of the island. So most people will spend time in Palermo if they're going to Sicily because it is the biggest town, lots of flights in and out. There is quite a bit to see in the city. So I would definitely say, you know, spending 3 nights is a good idea. That way you have at least 2 days. For people that have more time, I would suggest staying longer and doing some day trips to the surrounding cute little places outside if they don't have time to actually go out and stay there. So this is just a shot of the Palermo Cathedral, you know, 12th century, beautiful cathedral worth visiting. All of the big towns and even the small ones always have a piazza, so a gathering place with a beautiful fountain, nice place to stroll around in the daytime and in the evening. This is the Teatro Massimo, so very well known for beautiful opera performances. So people that are into that, this is a great place to take one in. And then some surrounding beaches. This is Mondolo Beach, which is just on the outside of Palermo, white sandy beach. This must not be peak season because I don't see people crammed in here. So, but beautiful waters all around the island. And, you know, when you hit it, especially in summer, it can get very hot on the island. So a beach and or a pool is very appreciated, especially by families with children. So, and this is the town of Cefalù that I briefly mentioned before. It is just about an hour drive along the northern coast from Palermo. So we do have a hotel, you can stay there, or it is a great day trip to head out. And it's just like this little hidden gem that's just so beautiful. I love it. All right, so in Palermo, we have, I believe we have about 9 hotel accommodations varying from 3-star, 4-star, 5-star. Some of them are small, some of them are bigger, larger type of properties. So I'm just going to talk about a couple of them. The Palazzo Natale is a newer one that we just added late 2023. So a new addition for us. Very, very charming, very typical traditional decor in the guest rooms and all throughout the property. It's a 4-star. It is a very, very cute place. It only has 9 rooms, so it is a boutique property. Great for couples or somebody that really wants to have kind of a quiet, unique stay. So the service level, of course, with only 9 rooms is excellent, and they will definitely remember the clients' names when they come and go. This is just a shot of their breakfast room. Very, very cute property, and yeah, I'm excited to add this. Has a really romantic feeling throughout the property. And then we've got the Roccaforte, a little bit bigger hotel. The Villa Agia is a 5-star hotel. This one is right on the water, so right on the seafront. Has about 125 rooms, if I remember. A lot of the rooms, as you can see here, have balconies, so you've got the sea view, a nice little place for clients to sit out there in the morning and have a cup of coffee, or in the evenings, enjoy a nice sunset. So this is a really, really beautiful property. Of course, it's a bigger one. They have full service, an outdoor terrace restaurant, so you can have, the clients can have breakfast out here, lunch, dinner, right overlooking the Bay of Palermo. So very, very nice atmosphere. Lots of gardens, palm trees, and vegetation all around, which is very beautiful. They do have a wellness center too, if somebody's looking to do some treatments and really relax while they're in Palermo. Those are just 2 examples of properties we have there. We have quite a few more. And I'll just talk about a few experiences that people could do while they're in Palermo. Like I mentioned, always good to try the local food with an expert. So we have a Palermo walking tour with a local guide, which is just over 3 hours. This is a private experience, so definitely can be tailored to the client's pace. You know, if they're want to see as much as possible, or if they're kind of slow going, it's great to do a private tour so that the guide can really tailor it to that client. But in this experience, you combine both some of the historical sites in Palermo along with quite a few tastings. You know, you'll start off with the local guide kind of going to the market. So the market in Palermo, the Mercato del Capo, which is very lively, lots of local vendors, very colorful. do lots of tastings in the market, and then kind of make your way through the market and out and do some different stops, tasting the different street foods of Palermo, which is a really fun experience. You get to taste a lot of things with somebody who knows the cuisine, and of course you can get some good tips on restaurants, where to go for dinner, lunches, that kind of thing from the guide. So I love the tasting tours. And here's just a shot. Of course, they'll try some arancini on this tour, which is a must. And then another experience if clients are staying a little bit longer in Palermo and want to do a day trip out outside of the town. I did talk about Cefalù a little bit, but Monreale is just outside of Palermo, the town of Monreale. I don't have a picture here, unfortunately, but it has a gorgeous cathedral. It's amazing, very, very well known for the interior. It's like a golden mosaic design all throughout the inside of the cathedral. It's super impressive. Back from the 12th century, and one of the most beautiful churches, I think, in Italy. And I don't think I'm alone in saying that. There are a lot of churches in Italy. If you've been, you know. But so a quick stop in Monreale, visit this amazing cathedral, which is super gorgeous on the way out of town. The town itself is very small. Take a little stroll around and see some of the cute shops, and then head out to Cefalù, which is that little seaside village on the northern coast. So you'll have a couple of hours there. Of course, you'll have a driver, your car. This is a private experience, so private car, driver, and a local guide with you throughout, so they can tell you about the history and all about both of these locations on the tour. It is a full day tour because you're doing both places, so it's about 7 hours in total. Here's just another shot of Cefalù, some of the charming little streets. There's lots of shops. Of course, it has also has a very beautiful church and a nice piazza right in front of there with little cafes where they can have a lunch stop in the sun and really enjoy the day. So, and then I talked really quickly about Erice. This is another really fun, interesting day trip to go outside of Palermo. So visiting this, you know, very unique hilltop town. You have amazing views from that hilltop over the sea. So it's a really great vantage point in addition to experiencing this cute little place. Followed by a stop in Segesta. So Segesta is, I think has some of the best preserved Greek architecture in all of Sicily. So we're combining these very charming places with very unique architecture. And then, of course, it's a full day experience. And in this area, it would be great to do some wine tasting for those who want it. So we did include a stop at a wine producer. So out in the countryside outside of these towns, clients will have a stop and do a wine tasting with some of the local products as well. Here's a shot of the Greek amphitheater in Segesta. So very, very beautiful towns, and another great suggestion for people who maybe they only have time to go to Sicily and stay in Palermo for a few nights, but they want to see more than just Palermo. So these are easy day trips for you to offer. They're full day and they're private, so they are customizable. And then moving along, like I said, I'm going to talk about the most popular places that clients usually go. Agrigento is another very famous place. So we're just going a little bit further south. Sorry, this slides are not moving as quickly as I wanted, but let's go. Agrigento is very famous for the Valley of Temples. So more Greek, beautiful architecture here. There's a whole park full of these ruins, which is something that most people will want to visit when they are staying in Sicily. Very, very easy to get to. These are some of the little narrow walkways within the town, within the old town of Syracuse, or Agrigento. This is the Scala dei Turchi. Unfortunately, due to people trying to climb up these cliff sides and doing some graffiti and starting to damage them a bit, they did block off the access so that tourists and even locals can't go climb up the cliff sides anymore. But it is a beautiful, beautiful area to look at, and there are some viewpoints from the surrounding beaches, and so you can definitely still see it in this area. Okay, so as far as accommodations go in Agrigento, one of my favorites is the Villa Athena, which is 5-star. Very unique, very beautiful property. It's 5-star in terms of everything. You can see that it's actually inside of the park. So the temples are literally right in front of you. You can see them from the guest rooms. You can see them from some of the guest rooms. You can see them from the swimming pool, from the outdoor restaurant. The gardens surrounding here are amazing as well. So the position of the property is just unbeatable. Booking in advance is strongly recommended if somebody does want to stay in, one of the rooms that has the temple views. This is obviously one of the upgraded room categories, one of the suites that has quite a large terrace with outdoor seating, table and chairs, and it's amazing to see these temples right in front of you, so well preserved in the daytime, or especially at night when they're lit up. It's really, really beautiful. So we have a variety of properties here. This is one of my favorites. Like I said, it is a 5-star, so people that have the budget and are looking for something very unique and special, this is a great suggestion, especially for couples. We have a couple of other properties just to mention kind of quickly, just outside of Agrigento, so more like the countryside feel, but still very easy to go see the temples either on their own or through a private tour. We have an organic farm named Fontes Episcopi, which is really, really unique, very charming little place. Everything there is focused on health and wellness and, organic products. They make everything themselves, all the toiletries, the soaps, the shampoos. They sell, olive oil, all the food. So there's a good variety of different types of places to stay for clients who want to come to Agrigento. Okay, and then heading east to Syracuse, another very popular place for people to stay, and right on the water, so also a great picturesque place to visit if people are just doing a day trip there. But here's just a shot of some of the typical walkways within the old town. Ortigia, so there's an island right in front of Syracuse, which is a great place to visit as well. Very, very beautiful that you're right on the water all around. Piazza Duomo, great example of the beautiful architecture in this area. Another Greek theater, they are everywhere and really amazing. Even if you see one, it's worth visiting more than one because they are different from each other and just mind-boggling how big and well-preserved they are. In terms of accommodations in Syracuse, we also have a variety of hotels, but I just wanted to mention this one, the Minaretto, which is a 5-star hotel that we just recently added last year. So kind of new to our collection. It's a medium-sized hotel, roughly, I think, about 95 rooms or so. So they have a variety of all different types of rooms and about 30 different types of suites. So lots of different options for people looking for upgraded room types. Kind of minimalistic, very simple decor, but it is a 5-star, so they do have lots of amenities. The good thing is it's right on the seafront, so the location of the hotel is great. You've got these amazing views and this large outdoor kind of restaurant / bar area where people can have a snack, have a drink, and relax in the evenings after sightseeing. So I really like all the outdoor areas here. They really have a nice vibe, nice relaxing atmosphere. And yeah, they also have a pool. They also have a small private beach that is just for guests of the hotel, which is a white sand beach. So that's something also unique to keep in mind for this type of property. All right, so heading up to one of the most famous places, Taormina. Again, the White Lotus reference. I know a lot of people did watch that and were like, where is this place? It is definitely a beautiful, beautiful place and very famous. So it can get extremely busy during the peak season. I haven't visited all the Greek theaters in Sicily yet, but this one I have, and it's so impressive. You have to have clients go here when they are in Taormina. It's just so beautiful. The fact that you can see Mount Etna, you can see the sea, you can see this whole panoramic up here because Taormina is up on the hilltop. It's breathtaking. It's so beautiful. And here's Mount Etna. Talked about it a little bit more. So it's on the eastern side and beautiful view. It is one of the tallest active volcanoes in Southern Europe, and it does get a little activity from time to time, but nothing that we've ever had to worry about with our clients. We do have some experiences. I'll talk about some of those where you can go visit the mountain also, but it's very close to Taormina, so easy to visit if staying there. This is Isola Bella, so little island right in front of Taormina, very easy to see when you're in town. Very, very charming place, so beautiful. This is just Corso Umberto, one of the most famous streets to stroll. I don't know how this picture was taken with no people in it, because there's usually a nice buzz going on, but I'm sure that people were photoshopped out of here. But such a charming place to go. I definitely recommend Taormina and staying there, not just doing a day trip from somewhere else, but actually staying there for a couple of nights. So as far as accommodations, mentioning a lot of the ones I'm mentioning in the presentation are 5 stars, and maybe you don't have clients that are looking for that high of level of property. So we do have plenty of 4 stars as well, and a couple of 3 stars in most of these towns. I just wanted to feature some of the newer properties that we've been adding over the past year, just to kind of show them off. But this property, the Ashby Hotel in Taormina, is a 5-star. Boutique 5-star. It's 25 rooms. It's right in the center of Taormina, so the location is great. You have these amazing views from lots of different areas, all the public spaces in the hotel. This is the breakfast room here. You can see starting your day with these views, looking out over the sunny waters with those big glass windows is a great way to start your day. So really, really beautiful property. They also are surrounded by a park, so there's lemon trees, oranges trees, lots of citrus trees all around, which they use a lot of their own products in their food, in breakfast, and it's really, really great. So here's just an example of one of the guest rooms. It's a nice combination of traditional and modern, very beautiful furnishings. Some of them have little patios, so private patio out of your room, which is also very nice, especially with that park-like setting surrounding the hotel. They do also have a swimming pool, so that's a good addition for people staying in the summer when it can be pretty warm. And then just a few experiences to talk about. Of course, we talked already about doing a market tour, kind of a walking tasting tour in Palermo, but we have lots of those types of experiences in other places. So from Taormina, we have a market tour and cooking class with lunch. This is a small group experience, so it's kind of fun for travelers who are looking to mix with other travelers. And I always think that doing a cooking class with other people is really fun because it's funny. Some people don't know how to cook at all. Some people really are into it and are really well. So it just makes a really fun experience to mix with other people. So this experience is a little over 5 hours by the time you meet with the chef. Chef Massimo meets you and takes you through the market, looking at all kinds of different things that are in season, picking out the ingredients of what you'll actually make together for lunch, and then going back and making several different courses, as well as some cannoli for dessert, and then all enjoying that together. So I love just at least including some kind of food experience in one city of people's trip, if not more, because I think that sometimes it's the thing I hear the most feedback on is, oh my gosh, that cooking class was so much fun. You don't have to be an expert. These are very casual type of experiences, usually in a restaurant or a local's home. So it's more for fun than being a professional. But of course, you get all the recipes and a little apron to take home with you. So yeah, it's always a hit on any trip. And then just talking about Mount Etna again, we have a variety of different tours. We have a half-day tour for people that want to go in a 4x4 Jeep, just kind of go up a little bit closer and explore the mountain a little bit. We have a full-day tour for people who really want to get out, do a little bit of hiking and walk up the mountain a bit with a guide. And then we have some that are combined with a winery visit. So doing some food and wine in addition to visiting the mountain, which is, in my opinion, the best of both worlds. So for a full day trip, this is a private experience. So again, the guide, local guide will be with you the entire time. You're going to have them at your disposal. So again, going at the client's pace is very easy to do with a private guide. But on the Mount Etna tours, of course, it's best if people are a little bit active. So just knowing that they can actually get out, do some walking, and wearing good shoes, all that kind of stuff, being prepared for the weather. It can get hot in the summertime and all that kind of thing. I've been talking a lot about food and wine throughout, but that's another big note that we want to always tell clients that when they're doing cooking classes or even lunches or anything like that, or tasting tours, anything that includes food, we really want to get any of their dietary restrictions or special needs ahead of time, just so that we can let the chefs know or the guides know, so they can kind of focus on that. I mean, and a lot of people now are, vegetarian, vegan, gluten-free, all kinds of different diets. So we can definitely accommodate all of those things on our private tours. It just works a little bit better if we know in advance, so that we can have our local people prepared for that. All right, and this is just a view of course, the wine tasting. So I have several different wines and of course a beautiful lunch outside in a winery. All right, I've been talking a lot. I know we're running short on time, but in addition to those main cities that I just talked about, I didn't talk about Catania so much. We do have a few properties there where I mentioned there is the other airport. There are day tours to do there. You can do things from there. We've just seen in the past that more people will opt to stay in Taormina because it's only an hour away from Catania. So if people are flying out of Catania, it's still very easy to get to the airport and fly out if they're staying in Taormina. But if people do want to stay in Catania as well, we do have a variety of hotels and experiences to all the surroundings as well. I just wanted to kind of touch base on a couple of places that are outside. I always think it's so fun and a great idea to try to include either a small town stay or a countryside stay or something that is outside of a city stay, in addition to people hitting those, must-see highlights, those big cities. So I'm just going to talk about a couple of the small towns. Noto in the southern part of Sicily is absolutely beautiful. One of those places that, you stroll around and you still see little old men meeting on the park benches every single day, playing cards and chit-chatting, and it just has a super old world feel to it. I really, really love it. So yeah, it's only about an hour and 45 minutes from Taormina, so it's a good stop to come to put before that if you're doing a circle around the island. Staying a night or two, or at least doing a day trip here, I think is strongly recommended. This is one of the properties that we have in the area. So this is Masseria della Volpe. This is more like a countryside feeling. It's very small, 25 rooms. So it's kind of like that villa type of feeling, not like a private villa, but a villa style of property, but you're, still have the hotel staff there with you. So it's 25 rooms. It's kind of an upscale eco type of resort, surrounded by olive trees and citrus farm. They do lots of farm to table dining. So all of their, meals are made fresh out of their gardens. And we also offer some food and wine experiences here for people that stay there. So people can do include a dinner or do some wine tasting or some of those kind of things. And of course, as you can see, it has a beautiful swimming pool. So for people that have done a lot of city stays, whether they're coming from mainland Italy and they've been to Rome, Florence, Venice, or they just went to Palermo and they want to do something a little bit more relaxing, this is definitely a good suggestion with the pool and the food and everything. It's a really, really peaceful, beautiful type of atmosphere. And most of the rooms, as you can see, have a little private patio area to sit out in the sun and enjoy as well. So that is one of the properties there. This is Ragusa, another amazing, UNESCO heritage city, lots of Baroque architecture, very, very beautiful, picturesque town. I would definitely recommend for people who have the time. Whoop, skimming ahead. All right, so this property here is Villa dell'Oro. It is right inside of the town of Ragusa. A cute little 4-star property, beautiful little swimming pool, very personable style, super charming, nice gardens, only has 15 rooms. So it is a very cute little boutique property for someone that's looking to stay, I wouldn't even say off the beaten path, but in one of these very charming small towns. Here's an example of one of the rooms, very bright and very light, very comfortable. So great little option. We have many more of these little charming places spread all over Sicily. So I strongly suggest trying to include one. And I think this is the last property that I have to talk about. This one is the Baio Occhipinti, which is definitely like a villa feeling out in the countryside. This one is not in the center of Ragusa. It's about a 25-minute drive out into the countryside, but super, super charming. All of the The rooms are full of like this stonework and the wooden beams, and really has a super relaxing feeling to this property. It is an organic farm, so they really focus on the nature. Everything there just is very, very calm, very relaxing. So this property also does a lot of food and wine experiences. Clients can actually book cooking classes at this property with us, as well as including some dinners during their stay here. So we do dinner, we offer dinners, we do wine tasting experiences, and then cooking classes as well. So one of my favorites, actually. Really, really love this. You can see the sea is just off in the distance there with the beautiful sunset, and of course, outdoor swimming pool, which is nice. All right. I did have one more. Okay, Riposto. So this little area is not far from Catania, very close to kind of the base of Mount Etna. And this is also a countryside type of property, Donna Carmela Resort, which I love. Again, kind of a small size resort, not a big, huge resort. I think they have 26 rooms, if I remember correctly. Really, really beautiful location. You're right at the base of Mount Etna, so you can see the mountain all times a day. They have beautiful gardens. I love the style of the property, just the restaurant and the guest rooms has a really, really nice upscale feeling, and the views are amazing from all different points of the property itself. So they have a nice swimming pool, wellness center, and a great restaurant and bar. So I just love these countryside places, if you couldn't tell by now. All right, so yeah, I am going to hand it back to Michael. He's going to talk a little bit about agent tools and all the different resources that we can offer you, you can offer your clients, and then if you guys have any questions for either of us, we'll hit those at the end. Thank you. All right, Michael.
Thank you so much, Tammy. I really enjoy listening to you talk about Italy. You're so passionate about it, and honestly, itself as a place that I've been to has you talked about the Mondel Beach, which is absolutely stunning. We went there with my family and then a couple other families as well. There's a group of like 10 of us, and it was an incredible stay.
Oh, nice.
And Erice, oh my God, the drive up there, the curving, winding roads, and the views that you get from up above, and you arrive in this place, it feels like you're stepping back in time. It was just gorgeous, and it was one of those most memorable trips I've ever had as a family, for sure. There are a lot of questions here, and I will get to them after I complete the agent tool section here. So please hold on a little bit longer, and we'll get to all those questions that you have for us. So we have a variety of different resources available to you that can help you sell with the client, to provide you with content information that you can utilize yourselves. We are your partners here. We're never going to be competing against you, and therefore we create things for you to interact with your clients and to go ahead and make those sales as best you can. I'll talk a little bit about the ASP, or the Avanti Sales Platform, which is a great 24/7 tool for you to be able to create quotes, whether you do or don't have names, at least at the beginning. The Destination Guide, which is a wonderful new tool that we have that's visually stunning. It's super useful, logistically comprehensible, a great way to kind of plan out a trip and see what routes we recommend for you. Our e-brochures and other collateral, along with our social media, which are great assets for you to utilize for you to talk to your own database of clients. That ASP, as I mentioned, is 24/7, so it's a wonderful way for you to find information, but also to create quotes. So if you're just looking for something real quick, maybe that will spark interest in some of your clients, you're being proactive, reaching out, someone who's gone on a trip with you the previous year and they mentioned they might want to go to one of these destinations. It's super simple to just go step through and look at days, or you can use some of the routes we already have and just pick destination, and you will be able to go ahead and get an itinerary that will spark their interest. Of course, at some point, you're going to need those names to be able to finalize that quote and then be able to put deposit on it so we can go get confirmation for you. The ASP, beyond those tools when it comes to the ability to create quotes with us and to make bookings, there's other things that you can do on there, along with making payments, and you can look at your sales information. There's a lot of great marketing resources for you as well, including, I'll just answer one of the questions now, or multiple ones of these questions about the recordings. We do have have a landing page on the website where you can go ahead and see all the webinars and recordings we do. These are great tools. We do destination stuff. We do trainings on how to use our Avanti sales platform. There's wonderful information for you to access. The destination guide is something we launched a few months ago. It stemmed from, we wanted to do something a little bit more visual that includes kind of a map and routes, and easy for the user to customize which route they want to take, because we do highlight that kind of independent travel. Of course, we offer packages. However, a lot of our packages are just kind of guides, and then from there you can modify as needed. There's wonderful information on there, included imagery and the number of hotels and tours that we have, and a lot of the descriptions of which hotels we have, which destination, what tours we have, and what destination as well, based by filtered by different themes that you have. You're looking at romance stuff, you can find all of that through our destination guide. This is kind of what it looks like when it comes to Sicily, similar to that slide that we had early on where there's kind of the highlighted destinations. Of course, there's more to offer in Sicily, but those are the places where we have the hotels that can kind of be your base camp, and you can move from there into all the different spots, especially with Palermo and Taormina being kind of your in and out point of Sicily. Our e-brochures have been developed and these templates created that are really visually appealing. It's a way for you to learn about a destination. It's also a way for you to share with your clients, for them to learn about a place, whether it's somewhere that they might be interested in going to think about that as a potential trip, or you've already confirmed everything and they just want to get excited. It's a nice little way to interact with your clients maybe a couple weeks before their trip. Like, hey, you guys are going to be staying at this place, or you guys are going to be going on some of these tours, and you just have these like exciting images that will pop out to them, and it's a great way for you to maintain that communication interaction with your clients. So it's something, as we know within the travel industry, is beyond just a client relationship. It's about the passion of travel, the interest and open-mindedness of cultural exploration, and to present that to your clients, you can do that through a bunch of content that we have created and that you guys can utilize. Other content that we have for you is those collateral. These are sales flyers and postcards. Well, we have a lot of our agents. They will go ahead and use those, white label, take screenshots of them, put their own logos on them and send them out. Again, another form of proactive communication and later customer relations to build that relationship, to make sure that all your travelers will come back to you for the next trip that they want to go on. We also have been spending a lot more time developing our social media channels, whether that's through Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or LinkedIn. We do a lot when it comes to the amount of EDU trips that we've been going on recently. I know right now we're hitting busy season hard, but in the last few months, a bunch of Avanti employees, along with a lot of our TA partners who qualified by watching these webinars, making a certain amount of sales, you end up qualifying to go on these trips. And I went on one to Greece, which was really a fantastic experience with a great group of individuals. Those are some of the most memorable things about the job for sure. And then you learn these destinations. And as you all know, it's so much easier to sell when you go on these EDUs and you understand the destination really well. Our social media channels are not just used for those EDUs or road shows that we do at Avanti, but we want your feedback. We want to hear from you when it comes to your travelers. Do you have great images or video from your travelers going to a particular destination? We'd love to tag that, highlight you, focus on your travelers going to these destinations, and that's a way to build your business as well. We also have a wonderful blog. We have a variety of different writers on the team. I've written a few, Tammy's written a few, a whole bunch of our marketing people have written a few over time. We really try to, these are super useful for a variety of different things, like how you can use Avanti as your partner, how you can build your business, and then how you can learn about destinations or what's kind of a trending destination this year. These are the 7 hidden secrets of Latin America. We have a lot of different kinds of blogs that focus in on that stuff, as well as some of the Avanti Advantage benefits that we can provide for you. This is our Avanti 2024 sales team. It's currently in growth as well, so we're having some changes around here, some increases in staffing, which is really an exciting time for all of us. These people are not just here to answer for you about Avanti information, but they're there so you can lean on them to how to build your business best. Please reach out to the regional sales advisor when you have any questions. If you're a new agent, that's certainly a way to go where you can kind of gain contact with us and start that process. But they're a wonderful resource that I highly recommend that you guys utilize. And when it comes to reaching out to us, you can use our reservation center. That's kind of what we've been known for over the years that we've been developing that ASP, the Avanti sales platform. But our reservation center, we do really dedicated trainings to make sure that our staff and our TCs are highly qualified and experts in each of those areas that to help you build those itineraries. They understand rail, they understand air, they understand the logistics of each of the destinations. They are experts to help you put together an itinerary that's going to work for your clients. You can email us at request@Avanti Destinations, of course, whenever you need. We will go ahead, and it takes about 1 business day in terms of response. We will try to get to as quickly as we possibly can, but no longer than 1 business day. And just to circle back to the reservation center, we do have a callback function. It's something available to you. It's a great way so you're not having to sit on hold. Those of you who've worked with us for a long time, we know there's been extended wait periods, and we try to bulk up for busy season as we're getting those calls. But of course, it's busy for a reason. Everybody's feeling busy. So we want to get back to you as soon as we possibly can, get that quote generated, answer your questions about confirmation, going in and answering any kind of doubts or questions you might have. Additionally, getting in touch through that ASP, the Avanti sales platform. It's a wonderful way where you can kind of get the quotes going initially, close out on the confirmations once you do have received payment, and we will interact with you through that ASP that is available 24/7. It's a wonderful way to reach out to us. So I got a lot of questions for us, Tammy. I hope you're hanging on the line there. I'll ask you real quick for a couple of them once I get to them. But there are quite a few. So when it comes to the recordings, I already mentioned the Avanti sales platform has a landing page with all of these recordings. So of course you can go ahead and see it. I also had a question about whether or not you guys have access to the slides. You don't have the PowerPoint itself, but of course you have the recording. So if you feel comfortable within the technology, there are ways to take screenshots, save that, utilize that in your own kind of presentations as you need when you watch the recordings. There's a lot of ability to do that. So look here, the name of the town that was west of Palermo, there was 2 of them, I think that you mentioned, which is Cefalu, I might be pronouncing it correctly, and then Monreal. Those are 2 that you mentioned, being just west. There's some great tours that we have that using the base of Palermo and then heading out west to take a day trip out there. Let's see here. I do have a question about Sicily and Sorrento in terms of doability for a day trip. It's not possible. It's about a 6-hour drive, so it's not going to be reasonable to try to do a day trip. And in minimum, we're looking 2 to 3 nights in Sicily. Tammy, is that that's minimum?
Yeah. So the question was, can you go to Sicily as a day trip from Sorrento?
Correct.
No. It's distance. I mean, you need to fly to and from, which, yeah, you would have to go from, Sorrento, drive to Naples, take a flight to get to either Palermo or Catania, and then try to see something and then get back to the airport again, take a flight back. So definitely not a day trip from the mainland at all. I would say if you're going to go to Sicily, like I said, there's so much to see there. I would say minimum 3-night stay so you could actually see something there. Sometimes people will just do maybe 2 or 3 nights if they're doing like pre and post cruise, or if they're just decided to add a couple nights onto their already planned itinerary. But yeah, day trips within Sicily from one point to another are easy to do because of the distances, but not necessarily from mainland Italy anywhere.
Thank you, Tammy. Appreciate it. I do have another question for you that's specific to that Villa Athena, which looks like an absolutely incredible property right inside of the park there. Yeah, they were asking, whether or not you can walk to the temples while you're staying at the Villa Athena.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's very close by. I mean, it's inside of the actual park, so yeah, you wouldn't need to necessarily. I mean, of course, we have private tours you know, if you wanted a guide to go with and explain everything to you as well. So just kind of up to you. But if clients are staying there and have a car or even just want to walk, it's easy to do.
Okay. And then there's a question about Ortigia here and whether or not we have properties. I don't believe we have any specific properties in Ortigia, but if you wanted to visit there, where would be the best place to kind of stay?
Yeah, I mean, it's right there in front of the seafront. So it's really easy to visit no matter which property that you're staying at. You know, that Minareto is a great one because it's like facing that direction, but really easy to visit. We don't have properties that are right there on the island, but yeah, very easy to visit for any of the properties that we do offer.
Okay, and quite a few questions. I know I already mentioned the kind of 2 to 3 day minimum that you kind of deep dive into, but there are some questions about, you know, the amount of time on the trip. What's the ideal length of the trip to Sicily? And the other one being, is 2 weeks enough to see the whole island?
I would say 2 weeks is definitely enough because of the distances being fairly short, you know, the drive times between places. I would say on average, most people do it in a week, but a lot of them are just hitting the big cities around, maybe a little bit longer if you wanted to include one of those, you know, smaller properties or small town stays, or you could even skip one of the bigger towns like staying in Agrigento or Syracuse and then stay at one of those countryside properties instead of staying in the city and then just do a day trip into the city. So that's always a good option too. But I would say a week, you know, 7, 8 nights is a good stay. A little bit longer, of course, the more you can see and the more experiences you can do in terms of like food and you know, ruins and small town visits and stuff like that. But I would say 7, 8 nights is a good average stay. So
Okay, in terms of along those lines of prioritizing destinations, like one question about what are the 2 destinations that you would stay with if you only had that time, and then the other one is about let's see here, if they only have 7 days in Sicily, what city would you prioritize, and the distances between like Palermo and Agrigento?
Oh gosh, there's so many good places. It's like choosing your children. No, I would say, I mean, I think Taormina it is a little bit, I don't want to say a little bit touristy. There's definitely, it's like, it is crowded. There are some touristy aspects to it because it is so gorgeous, but it's also very unique. So I would definitely recommend at least staying in or close to Taormina for a couple of nights, just because I love the views from being up on that hill, and there's lots of experiences to do. You can go to Mount Etna, you can go to some of the surrounding ruins, you can do a lot of food and wine experiences. So I would definitely say Taormina is on the must-do list. And then personally, just because I love like countryside type of experiences, maybe choosing one of those smaller countryside places just south of there, down by Noto or Ragusa. It's kind of a good combination of seeing something famous and, you know, where a lot of people might be kind of in Taormina versus a countryside experience where you're going to get like just amazing food to table, you know, farm to table food and really high hospitality. Although in Sicily, the hospitality is great. People are super welcoming and really, really excited to see tourists. So
yeah, that was probably the biggest take home that I had was, you know, whether or not their English is fluent, the warmth you could connect with people was so, it was just, they made it so easy on you.
Yeah, I think when you're out in the countryside too, people are so excited. It's almost like welcoming you to their home, you know, because they have, a lot of times they live there or right close by. They are taking care of the gardens and making the food, and everything is very personal to them. So it feels very warm and very cozy. So I always try to recommend that people do one of those kind of stays. A lot of times people will always go to Palermo because it is the capital city. There is a lot to see. The flights are very frequent. You can do some day trips there too. So it is, if somebody has a short amount of time and just wanted to see one place, a lot of times people will either just base in Palermo or in Taormina, which are the 2 biggest, most popular places to stay, I would say.
Wonderful. And a couple more questions that are related to, best times to travel there. What's it like? The hotels are open all year round. How is kind of September or October and kind of those shoulder seasons? I know the weather
Yeah,
obviously gets a little colder.
yeah. I mean, the island in general is a little bit warmer because it is farther south, so you have a longer season of warmth. I would say summer can be pretty hot, and that goes for not only Sicily, but I feel like the rest of the world as well. Even mainland Europe and many places are experiencing very hot temperatures in the month of August. So if your clients are not necessarily people that like hot weather, probably avoid August. But my favorite time to go, and actually when we see most of our travelers going, is spring and fall. So May, June, and September, October are great times. The weather is not so hot. It still can be busy, but everything is open and lively. And especially in September and October, I like the switch from summer to fall. You can see like the vineyards are changing colors. They're doing like the harvesting, that kind of thing as well. And then you're switching like the different types of foods that are in season in the fall. September and October is actually one of my favorite times to travel. It is still very busy in September usually in all of Italy, but late September, early October is kind of like my favorite. But May and June are also very nice as well. So
yeah. My 2 cents when it comes to Sicily is that, of course, the beaches are really beautiful, but it's not necessarily a beach destination. If you were to go in shoulder season when it's not too hot, there's so much culture, there's so much food, there's history and the ruins. You don't really need to have a beach day. It's nice to for some people. It depends on what you're looking for, I guess.
Yeah, I think that most of our clients do not go to Sicily for the beach. I don't know that hardly any of them do, to be honest with you, just because it's so rich in so many things to see, the architecture and the ruins and the gastronomy everywhere, the food, and there's so much going on that, yeah, the beach is kind of like an afterthought sometimes. Like if it does get hot or if you do have kids and you're close by, you can definitely do a beach stay, but it's not on the top list. I think people go to other islands for a beach vacation where there's not as much to actually see and do, but it is possible.
A couple other questions about rental cars. So one of them is, can we book rental cars as part of the Sicily package? Absolutely. We focus on that. We have great contracts with multiple different suppliers in Italy, so we do have those options to book it. But one question was, maybe your clients don't feel comfortable renting a car. What do you think of the best way, Tammy, is to kind of get from place to place? Do we have products that are getting people from destination to destination easily?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the rental cars go, I would say it's easy to get around, like I mentioned before, and we do have multiple different providers to book those rental cars through. I would not drive in Palermo. The traffic is like something unreal, and it's probably because of the streets are very narrow, the parking is super limited. You could drive around for hours in traffic looking for a parking spot. I saw that the very first time I went. So usually I'll recommend if people do want to pick up a rental car and they're in Palermo, do it when you're leaving town. You don't need it to be in town. You don't need to park it. So definitely don't have one there, but most of the other places around the island, especially the countryside properties, it's absolutely no problem at all to be able to access it, to park, of course, free parking everywhere. But apart from rental cars, if people do not feel comfortable driving themselves, we have transfers connecting all of these dots. So a lot of them are already preloaded, so you can see the options. Just if you want a private transfer from A to B, we can do that. If you wanted to do some experiences along the way, we can also do kind of like that private transfer tour combo where you stop in a town, meet a guide, do a little tour around. Sometimes we include lunch or wine tasting. There's a variety of different options all over the island, which we really spent quite a bit of time on developing a lot of those in 2023. So we're adding even more. They're coming in more and more every week. So we're just trying to get a really, really rich variety of options. So we can definitely connect the dots everywhere, all throughout the island. Rail is not really the way to go. I feel like either rental car or private transfers to get around is best.
Yeah, Tammy, you must be reading people's mind here because they're asking about rail. You answer the question transfers from city to city. So this is great. I love all the interaction. Thanks everybody for all these great questions. There are a couple more out here, a few that I can answer directly, and then some more product related. Talking about like amenities at the hotels in particular, with some Virtuoso Signature, those special amenities that we have. We do in certain areas are able to get the specific amenities from those consortiums, but we also have wonderful properties that we've built out over the last year or so that are the Avanti Advantage amenities, and these produce similar kinds of benefits, or in many cases Italy is full of these. We did a webinar, actually, Tammy and I, not that long ago, about all these Avanti amenity properties that we have throughout Italy. So bottle Prosecco in the room, late checkout, early check-in, that kind of stuff. We have a variety of those. And to be honest, before we even released this kind of program that we've contracted with our DMCs and the local partner hotels, for years, because of our relationships with Italy, we've had little room upgrades when available, all these little perks, because we have so much volume in these places and we have really close relationships with our DMC partner there that have been able to give us kind of those little extras. Maybe want to add to that, Tammy?
Yep, no, that's exactly. We have so many hotels that we've worked with together with our DMC partner for years and years and years, that when they see it's an Avanti booking coming their way, they're definitely like excited. They love our clients, they love our type of traveler, and usually they will definitely do their best. I mean, the volume of tourism over the past couple of years has really increased, so sometimes little things like early check-in or late checkout are not possible due to that, but lots of little things, room upgrades when they're possible. That's always an advantage to traveling kind of in shoulder season or lower season versus during peak season. But yeah, they definitely will put little goodies in the room or give room upgrades whenever it's possible.
Okay, two more quick product questions for you, Tammy.
Sure.
One, I'd love to hear, because I know you spent time developing this. How's the combination with Sicily and Malta? We got two separate questions about Malta.
Good. I mean, they're very close to each other. It is possible to fly between and even ferry between. I think it's interesting because they're different from one another, but I love islands anyway. I love islands that have like a whole cultural element, and you can really spend some time there, and there's more to do than just sit on the beach, even if I love the beach. But yeah, combining both, we have a variety of accommodations in Malta. We also, it's a very small island, so it's easy to get around. We have a variety of day tours there as well. Yeah, big hotels, small hotels, city center, right on the edge of the island. So they're great to combine together because they are different enough from each other that you would not be seeing the same thing by combining both of them. And yeah, I love both of them a lot.
Perfect. Any private villas in Sicily?
In Sicily, we don't offer private villa rentals, which like self-catering, if that's what the question is leading towards. It's just something that has never worked out for us very well. I think there's a lot of companies that really specialize in just private villa rentals. We have developed villa stays all throughout Italy, including in Sicily. So we have them in the Veneto region outside of Venice. We have them in Piedmont, in the north, outside of Turin and Alba, that area. We have them in Tuscany. We have them in Umbria, so around Assisi, Orvieto, and also in Sicily, out in the countryside. So what that means is basically the property is either a former villa or a former masseria or a villa type of structure that generally has a very charming architecture. It has some history, it has a story to it, and then there's a lot of personal touches that go into that. So your stay, we can include a couple of dinners, we can include lots of different kinds of experiences that are different depending on the property that you're staying at, cooking classes, or if they're a wine producer, meeting the wine grower and doing those types of experiences. So depending on the property, the experiences can vary, but staying in one of these properties is not a private, rent it all out to yourself type of thing. It is still like booking a room in a property. So you still have the staff there, you still have the chef making breakfast every day and offering, lunch at some and dinner at some, and you still have the daily cleaning and all of the service aspects of a hotel, but the property itself has that location and feeling of a villa stay where you're in the country and you have that really personable type of service and really, really good food and wine.
And we also, over the last year, kind of defined that villa program really well and gone out with some marketing, including a webinar that Tammy was involved with as well. So there's a lot of information for you to see about all the different villa properties that we have. Now, moving in less of the product area, but more of about Avanti as a whole, questions that we had about the blogs. Are those for the TA specifically? Or are they appropriate to share with the clients? Excellent question. A lot of them happen to be specific to the TAs. However, we're moving towards the direction of shifting a lot of our marketing to help you guys out. So we have both of those, direct to TA, kind of in the weeds, detailed information, and then more of the kind of interesting destination specific stuff that is going to be consumer related as well. So we're kind of tweaking those to have both available for you guys to share as we move forward. Some of them are already that way, that they are specific to anybody who wants to read them, whether that's the end traveler or you all as our partner TAs. But we are going to be having more of those options moving forward, where we have both the consumer direct blogs as well. A few other questions in here. Wow, I love this. There's so much interaction. So
yeah.
Around. This is fantastic. Minimum requirements for Avanti to book 3 nights. That is our minimum requirement here. So that will get you to the minimum total to be able to book with us when you're looking for air and combining a whole package together. And the last question, it looks like, oh, hold on, there is a question that just popped up about the consumer direct blogs. Clearly marked, do we share the link or copy and paste? That's a really good question, and I appreciate the feedback, because that's something that is kind of a work in progress as we're defining within the marketing team how we want to go ahead and present these blogs. But I think you're right. It makes a lot of sense to kind of emphasize how important or who it is directed at, so you don't necessarily have to read through it all if it's something you want to share with the consumer who's going to a destination. So yeah, that's something I'll take note of and absolutely bring that up with our whole team. The deposit and payment structure look like it is $400 per person as a deposit, and then any kind of non-refundable services that are included in there, and the inclusion of air kind of stuff, or any kind of published air has to be paid at that moment. But it is basically $400 plus any additional service, and then we're looking at final payment at 60 days prior to travel. Is Arici accessible? So we did get one more question specific to product here. I can say for a fact, yes, Arici is accessible. I drove there myself, so yes, it's definitely accessible. It's beautiful. I highly recommend it as a stop your trip to Sicily. Honestly, there's so many of those little charming towns. I think there's never ending the amount of possibilities where you might want to.
Yeah.
I think the last question here is, sorry, I got lost in my train of thought. Oh, does Avanti offer 24/7 customer service hotline for clients traveling? All of our DMC partners, we work with them to be the point of contact when there are any issues that are ongoing, to take care of your customers, and they all do have emergency lines. It depends regionally, but we are working on expanding Avanti's offering and kind of closing contracts with our DMCs to make sure that we do have that 24/7 coverage. So to answer your question, not every single destination has it at the moment, but we do have emergency lines that are available, and we're building out to get to that 24/7. That is a huge goal for us this year, that we're working with all of our partners to get there and make it easier for those calls too. We're developing different ways to make that contact, to make sure the numbers are up to date, and to facilitate, because everyone's traveling now with a cell phone, so things have changed over the years, and whether they want to use WhatsApp as a contact communication platform, there's so many options out there. We want to make sure we have available for everybody. Well,
we do have that in-travel line that's not only in the Portland office, but also in the Barcelona office. So they're working on European time when the travelers are in destination, on top of our DMC lines. So we do have quite a bit of coverage, I would say, most of the time, except for maybe a couple of hours in the middle of the night when most people are sleeping. But then again, we do have those emergency lines if something happens. But
Exactly. I think, yeah, as Tammy's making the point, for European travelers, most of the time we have basically 24/7 coverage because we have the offices out there. You know, when you get to Asia or the South Pacific, it gets a little bit trickier because we have the Portland office and the Barcelona office. So Avanti coverage is darn close, but not quite there for 24/7 coverage for your travelers. Okay, well, thank you so very much, Tammy. Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.
yeah.
Sticking around and listening to the presentation. So much great information that we have. If you have any other questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. If you're a new agent, feel free to contact reservations@avantidestinations.com, call our reservation center, or reach out to the sales agent. You can hop onto the website to get more contact information too. Have a wonderful afternoon, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.